going live on 2 platforms. Patio Stories episode, is this 9 or 10? Well, as people are joining the room, this is a spontaneous, I'll have you know, a very spontaneous Patio Stories episode. And for the first time, well, okay, it looks like we've got somebody in the room on my YouTube, but I'm also streaming simultaneously to Instagram Live, because that's typically how all these other previous episodes have come together, with Instagram Live, the vertical. But I love that this YouTube gives us this wider swath, if you will. So I guess what I'll do is take the shades off. We've got oh, look at this. Sandy's joining us. Sandy, how are things in Oz? We're going live with I think it's episode 9, or is it 10, of Patio Stories. And today's actually a very special day. We're going live simultaneously, and I've got a really great story I'm going to share with you today from Africa. But you know, it's been here now. I've been locked down in this house since sometime in March, and I started my Journeys webcast live streams. Journeys webcasts on Mondays. So tomorrow, actually, I am having an awesome South African couple, Meekness and Elsabe Olivier. And they are motorcyclists. They've been traveling the world for 10 years. And they are right now, and have been, stuck in Bolivia for 5 months. And they're going to be my guest tomorrow. What's interesting about these guys is, and what's interesting about Bolivia, is they can't, you know, they've got their motorcycles there. They can't, it's a great country for motorcycle riding, except they can't leave the town of Sucre unless they have a special pass. And they don't, you have to get that through the government, and the government's not handing those things out. So anyway, that's the story here. So today is special. I'm going to bring you a story from Africa, from the border of Malawi to the Malawian and Tanzanian border. Okay, and it was here at that border that I ran into a little bit of a problem, and I'm going to share that with you in just a bit. But what I also am going to share with you, this is the second time, and I think it was originally Patio Stories number 4. Check me on that. Maybe 4 or 5, is when I had my first haircut under lockdown. And things are a little out of control with this hair right now. So I have managed to convince one of the girls from Entourage Salon in Carlsbad, California, to come here during Patio Stories and give me another haircut. Sandy, we can bring Sandy on just for a second here. Okay, go live with Motion Yogi.
Hi.
Hey,
Cool.
Sandy.
You've got, look at my Aussie bush background. What
time is it over there? Is it your morning?
It's the morning. But look.
I gotta turn the volume up here. Let's see. How do we do this?
Okay. Your background looks so
right?
lush. It looks so lush where you are, and like there's flora and fauna everywhere.
Yes, and look at you. Got lots of flora and fauna everywhere too.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So tell us where you're checking in from.
Oh, so I'm down south. So 3 hours south of Sydney. That's where it is.
3 hours south of Sydney.
Yeah. And this is a little residential area where I'm living. And there you can just see the beach. Can you see that?
Yep. Nice. Very nice. So on Instagram Live, for those of you tuned in on YouTube, I've got a guest who just popped on, Sandy, who I met in Greece 2 or 3 years ago, something like that. Anyway, she is in lockdown in a little town on the beach, 3 hours south of Sydney, and you could see her pretty face and smile if you were on the live stream on Instagram. But anyway, so I was just announcing that I'm going to get my hair cut here live, and it's going to be on streamed. So
Oh,
I'd like
that's
to
gonna
bring
be
I'd like to bring
something
in
to
Angie.
watch.
I'll introduce you to Angie.
I'll put it in the
Angie?
diary.
Angie. So Angie is one of the three sisters that own Entourage Salon in Carlsbad, California. They've been having a hard time because they've been
Angie,
run down.
How are
Okay, so oops.
you?
There. This is Sandy,
Hi.
and Sandy is my friend. She's from Oz, but via UK, but also via San Luis Obispo or Morro Bay as well.
But here you are in the Aussie bush.
Yes, the bush.
Beautiful.
Yes. So cheers to you, Sandy.
Cheers. It's a bit
Cheers
early
to my
for me.
YouTube followers out there.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. We're going to get into this here soon. I just wanted to.
You get into it now. I thought it was just you and me, so I was like, okay, let's have a chat.
Yes. Well, it is just you and me. That's the way it should be. Yeah.
All right, so you get into your story.
I'm going to get into my story.
I'll say goodbye.
You stick around too, okay?
Yeah, I will.
It's going to be a good story. All right, Sandy, I love you. I don't know if we saw you on the YouTube. See, we've got two screens here. This is crazy. So we have YouTube people watching. We have people from Instagram Live watching. We've got wine. And, you guys got to see the spread here because, if Angie's coming over, we got to make sure that we take care of business. So we've got a nice cheese charcuterie plate. Very nice. I can kind of do the same here with this, sort of. There it is. Look at that. Awesome. So, Angie, it's been how long since you were here last?
I think it's been about 2 months, 8 weeks.
It's really been ratty. My beard is like this. I mean, I've been doing these webcasts, and I feel like. What do you think of this hair?
Well, it needs to be trimmed.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I found myself the other day. When the hair starts sticking out, you get that bozo look going on, and I found myself going on the webcast the other day saying, how do you mat this hair down? And I'm digging through the drawers, and I found like this sample size of hair gel. I'm not a guy who needs hair gel, trust me. So anyway, I found this little sample tube of hair gel, and I'm matting it down so it doesn't go like this while I'm doing my webcast. So anyway, Angie's been kind enough to give me a personal haircut here in lockdown. So
shall we?
Yeah, let's get going on this.
All righty.
And I wish I knew why this thing was. So let's get on with this haircut. Now, the other thing is I can't move my head a lot because the doctor. Here, I'm going to give you a little bit of a vertigo update right now, okay? So the vertigo update is I saw the doctor on Wednesday, and I was in there for some tests. They're doing these complicated tests to try to determine if there's any permanent damage to the vestibular nerve or the hairs in the ear canals. Okay, and as we're doing this test, which they have me in this chair, lying down, sitting up, lifting up my head, putting an earphone in my one ear on one of the tests, telling me to lift my head up rapidly every time I hear it sound like a knocking. But the woman administering the test says she's got to get the doctor. So she goes looking for the doctor and explains to the doctor that she noticed a little bit of a torsion movement in one of my eyes. And this is typically a symptom or indicative of what they call BPPV. And don't ask me to tell you what that stands for, but it's a type of vertigo where, and I've talked about this before on the live stream and on the webcast, it's a type of vertigo where these crystals in your ears get loose, dislodge, and then fall down into the ear canal and get stuck in the hairs in your ear canal. And these ear canals are responsible for your sense of balance. So anyway, in the midst of that test, the doctor says, well, then we need to put him in the chair. Now, do you guys remember the Epley Omniac's chair? There's a video online on YouTube. You should check this out. Okay. Anyway, they take me to another room where they have that crazy chair. It's like a fighter pilot chair. And basically they put some goggles on you with a camera attached to one eye, and they flip you around, somersaults, turn you upside down. And meanwhile, they're monitoring my eye movements. And if they see this movement that she was seeing in her tests, then they would know exactly which of the various ear canals had some crystals. And so, long story short is they put me in the chair. They replicated that condition where my eye was something like this, turning like this. And they use the chair actually as a way of treating you. So once now they know which canal that this is on, which where they think the crystals is, they somersault you, do all this stuff. So they did all this, then they retest you to see if the eye is not moving anymore, which means great, we got it. They replicated it. They flipped me around on the chair a few more times, and then they tested me, no more movement of the eye. But then they tell me for the next week or 10 days, I can't move my head because they don't want, they've been able to, by turning me upside down, sideways, and all the rest of that, they've been able to send the crystals back home. But if I move too much or move my head too much, there's a risk that I could shake the crystals up again and cause them to come back out. So this is not to say that they've found exactly what's wrong with me. They believe that it's still both a viral infection in the vestibular nerve, what they call vestibular neuritis, and this HPPV is also there, prevalent. I still don't feel right. It's really weird. It's very disconcerting not to have kind of balance. I mean, I don't fall. It's not, the room isn't spinning. I don't have any nausea, but it's a bit of a problem. So, hey, Mashafi, I'm sorry if I can't say it right. Hello, how are you? Thanks for joining us in. We have a new person joining us on Instagram Live. I'm actually, for the first time, streaming to both YouTube and Instagram Live at the same time while getting a haircut from Angie of Entourage Salon and about to tell a story from Africa. Okay? I've been telling the story, of course, about my vertigo business, which is a pain, and I'm just hoping one day when I wake up, it's gone. But so far, every day I wake up, I feel this like floaty boaty kind of thing. It's really weird. Let me tell you, it is weird. So definitely not getting back on the motorcycle. I have ridden the bicycle, but right now, since I can't move my head, according to the doctor, he doesn't want me to move my head. It's not a good idea to get on the bicycle because you're going to be looking down, kind of. Makes sense, right? Hands on the handlebars. So, anyway, so I'm in Malawi, which is in sub-Saharan Africa. Its borders to the east would be Zimbabwe. To the west would be Zambia. And to the south would be to the south would be, well, Zambia again, and I guess South Africa, and then to the north, Tanzania. And earlier in the journey, I had met a guy named Ronnie Borgero, and he's riding a motorcycle, a GS 1200, BMW motorcycle. And he had friends who lived in Malawi. So I'd met him in Namibia and then rode with him for a little bit, but we separated in Botswana, and he continued on to Zambia and onto Malawi to spend some time with his friends, while I spent a little bit more time kind of going slower, spend more time in Zambia. I needed to get my fork seals fixed on the bike and, a few other those things. But I eventually met him back up in Malawi and spent a few days with his friends, and then we continued onward to spend some time on the Lake Malawi, which also shares the eastern shore of that lake is in Zimbabwe. And then in Mozambique, maybe. I'll have to get my map out. I think it's actually Mozambique. Okay. See, we're getting the haircut here. It's really been bad, and the beard's getting trimmed too, which is very exciting for me. I'll feel like a whole new man when this is done. Maybe this will get rid of the vertigo.
Maybe.
Do you think that could be it? I just needed a haircut? Was it that simple?
Could be.
Okay.
Too much.
Well, I can't really, she's saying. So we spend some time on Lake Malawi, and then we head to the border of Tanzania. Now, borders crossings overland on a motorcycle in Africa can be a bit bureaucratic. You know, there's always a line, and then you always have to be careful, watch your bike, and they want copies of your title, copies of insurance sometimes. Sometimes they force you, extort you to buy insurance that you know you'll never be able to get a claim on. And you go through customs. Sometimes they want to inspect the motorcycle and they want to look at what's inside it, and these kinds of things. So here at the Tanzanian border, you have to go in and you get stamped out of Zambia. That's the first thing you do. So you get cleared out of Zambia, rather Malawi. You get cleared out of Malawi, and then you have to go through another whole process with other officials to get a visa and get admitted into Tanzania. Well, in Tanzania, literally we ride about 30 meters on our motorcycles to come to another another border gate, guards there. And you have to go into an office, and Americans have to buy a visa there at the border. And the price is about $120. It's not cheap, but I'm going to be in Tanzania for a while, so I don't mind paying the money. So I fill out a bunch of paperwork, get copies of all the things for my motorcycle, clear the customs part of it. Now going through the immigration part, which is where you get the visa. How are we doing? Do I need to turn?
There we go. Perfect. Good.
Okay. So now to go through the immigration part, you have to fill out an application for the visa, provide them your passport, and then pay them. So I start to count, see how much Malawian currency I have. I think it's called kwacha. I forget the name of the currency there. But they say, no, we don't take Malawian currency. I said, well, I don't have any Tanzanian. They said, we don't take Tanzanian currency either. It's called shillings, Tanzanian shillings. I think it's kwacha in Malawi. He says, we only accept euros and dollars. And I said, what? Euros and dollars? So deep in my motorcycle, hidden and tucked away, I have a few $100s just in case there's emergencies like this. So I'm like, all right, well, if that's the way it's going to be.
Okay.
If that's the way it's going to be, hold on. I go to the bike and I dig through and I find the stash, the cash. But anyway, I got to get $120 into the hands of the immigration people here in Tanzania. So as I go up to the bill, I give him $100, and I had I think I had a $20 bill as well. The guy holds up the $100 bill, turns it around in his hand, looks at me, looks at the $100 bill, puts it back down, pushes it back. Sorry, we can't accept that. And I said, what? You can't accept this? You just told me you only accept dollars and euros. And there's a little bit of mumbling between him and his partner there. And he says, small head. And I'm like, why is this? Cut off. Are we done?
We're done.
Oh, that's such a great thing. That is such a great thing. Now I have to have a hit of the wine. So here I am at the Tanzanian border. The guy won't take my $100 bill, and he keeps looking at it and saying small head. And then as I put two and two together, back in the 90s, I guess, the U.S. currency changed the design. Instagram Live paused due to poor connection. We're not having a poor connection over here. Anyway, let's let the Instagram. Have a seat. Come on, sit down. Grab some wine. Have some food. We got cats over here.
We have some animals.
We have Angie, Sharon's, cutting the hair. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, so eating. So here I am now. And back in the 90s, I think it might have been in early 2000s when they changed the currency from smaller presidential heads, and on The $100 American US dollar bill is $100 is Benjamin Franklin. So a lot of time we call them Benjies. So here I am with a Benjie with a small head, and he's looking for a Benjie with a big head, apparently. I turned to Ronnie to see if he's got any extra cash, because they won't even take his South African rand, and he doesn't have enough money. So I keep saying to them, well, what am I supposed to do? Do you guys have an ATM machine? You got to understand, I'm in the most remote part of Malawi, at the Malawi and Tanzanian border. There's no ATM machine. There's hardly any even electricity here. Of course, they've got these old dated CRT computers that they're punching all of our documentation into. And he says, your friend can go. He paid. Go. And I said, come on. Can you make an exception? I only have the Benjie with the small head. All I got is the small-headed Benjie.
You're screwed.
What am I going to do? I can't get into Tanzania. So Ronnie's like, oh, man. He's looking up, rolling his eyes up in there, and he's like, what are we doing here? Why am I riding with this dude? Now, Ronnie's also the same guy. And by the way, he was featured in my very first Journeys webcast. So you can learn a little bit more about Malawi here on my YouTube channel. That YouTube is WorldRider. You can actually see that interview. We don't talk about the Benjie incident, but we talk about a lot of others. So it's a great one. But anyway, he's the guy who's known to say, Allan, you talk too much, you stop too much. And that's because I always want to connect with people and talk and learn and have an experience. Why are you on this journey? I'm not just there to go fastest way from point A to point B. But I'm sitting there, really down and out, because I only thing I can think of is getting back on the motorcycle and riding all the way back to Lilongwe, which is the capital of Malawi, which is where I could possibly go to a bank and get US dollars, convert some Malawian money into some US money. But that would take 2 days. I mean, it's at least 3 to 4 hours to get to Lilongwe from here, maybe a little bit longer. And then, who knows how long it's going to take to go to a bank and deal with that kind of bureaucracy. So just as we're sitting on the side, talking with the locals on the side of the road, Ronnie's saying, don't worry, buddy, I'm going to hang out here with you. But and I'm getting ready to just pack up my bike and go back. And maybe there's even a small town between here and Lilongwe that I didn't know about that possibly had a an ATM or a bank that would be open. And just then this bus comes pulling up, and it makes a big stop. Dust is flying everywhere, and a bunch of local people come rolling out of the bus. And in the midst of this crowd of faces, all black faces, there's 2 white guys. I mean, a white guy and a white girl. And I say, we make pleasantly. They see the motorcycle come up, realizing that we're of their sort anyway, and speak English. And we start talking, and then one guy starts saying, "Oh, is that your motorcycle? I just finished reading Long Way Down, which is a book written by Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman, the actor, who's famous for their series of motorcycle adventure trips." And he's just jazzed about this, and he says, I've seen your website, because he had been Googling motorcycle travelers in Africa, and he's like, I saw your website. I can't believe I'm seeing you here. And we start chatting, and then I start telling him the story about the small-headed Benjie, and the $100 bill with that these guys won't accept. Well, he scratches his head for a little bit and opens up his wallet, and he starts thumbing through a fistful of bills, and he says, you know what? I'll trade you. I have a US $100 bill with the big head, and I'll take yours. I'm sure I can, he's a Canadian guy, by the way. Him and his girlfriend were from Canada. He says, I can use that in Canada. Don't worry. And he got me out of the mess. And he was happy to also go back into his backpack and pull out that book, Long Way Down, and handed it to me and said, I'm done with this. Maybe you'd like something to read on the road. So I got a big-headed Benjie. I walked back in, and much to the surprise of this immigration official, he's like, "How did you do that?" And I says, "I had some friends bust in. I had some friends bust in." Oh, there we go. Look at this.
Make it work.
Yeah. So there I am now with the official Tanzanian passport in the Tanzanian visa in the passport. Ronnie and I go cruising into Tanzania. But, you know, we've burned a lot of time. And again, there's very few towns there. And we were hoping to make it to a town called Iringa, by nightfall. But sure enough, about 2 hours before we get to Iringa, it starts pouring rain. And then when in the rain, you obviously go a lot slower. So the rain keeps coming and coming. There's nowhere else for us to stay. We can't even stay on the side of the road. It's just the ditches that roll off. There's huts all around. And as we keep cruising, and you know, it's painfully slow when your visibility is down. You never should be riding in Africa at night anyway. That's kind of my mantra. But on top of it, when it's raining. So as we keep pushing on, but going very slow, painfully slow, when we finally get to the outskirts of Iringa, you can kind of see the road widens a little bit. You're starting to see more traffic, and we're cruising along. And then we go through this about 3-4 mile stretch where the water is almost up to waist level. It's really deep. And as we're cruising, you know, it starts to get down lower, down to about just under the top of my tire. We're cruising through it, and it's at that moment we see something in our headlights that keeps moving away from us. And as we close and focus and squint our eyes further, and we realize that these are frogs. Hundreds of frogs are jumping out of our way as we're cruising. I mean, we're running through a frog pond, it seems. Man, it's crazy. We're soaking wet. Frogs are jumping everywhere. But we finally roll in, find ourselves a guest house, and arrange to park our bikes. We get a secure place for the bikes, and finally to get out of our wet clothes and get ourselves a cold beer. It was a crazy journey, and if it not were for the Canadians who magically appeared out of nowhere on a bus, hell, I could possibly still be at the Tanzanian border, but maybe not. So anyway, it looks like Angie's out of. She did all the work here, and she's out of wine. So I'm gonna open up. We were just drinking a little Chardonnay. I'm gonna open up a rosé because it's been hot, man. Have you been seeing the news here? If you're in the U.S., man, we're under a heat wave. Oh man. So what's better than anything than during a heat wave? Yes, is a rosé. Is a rosé. So we'll go ahead and take care of a little business with getting Angie a bit of that rosé. So this is from Copain, and it's I believe it's a blend of it's probably predominantly Grenache, but Syrah, Grenache, Mourvedre, and there we go. Let me know what you think of that wine there, Miss Angie. So Angie's from Carlsbad, Entourage Salon. It's on Carlsbad Village Drive, downtown in the village. Can you guys be open yet?
No, we cannot. We got shut down again the second time.
But things have been just in the last 2 or 3 days, but still not salons.
Not salons.
I was in Encinitas the other day, and there's this old school barbershop on the corner of D Street, I think, and D or E Street, and the 101 Coast Highway, and it's every time I've gone into that village a few times to go and pick up some wine and things like that. Let's put that out of the way there. And the barbershop always says we're closed, big X on it. Well, and you know, it's even got one of those what do you call the barber pole? You know, the little thing that turns out front. Yeah, and there was an older guy out there cutting hair outside on the sidewalk. This was yesterday. So I guess they allow you to be outside?
As of 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks.
Outside.
So have you done any?
Only
haircuts?
Only haircuts, no color.
And that's not where you make your money?
No. It's
not doing a head like mine. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Is anybody? Oh, okay. And over here. So Anyway, this wasn't a bit of an experiment. Anyway, I'm really glad. For those of you who maybe tuned in too late, Angie just cut my hair. It was looking really raggedy. I was definitely looking like maybe I would be homeless. Yeah, and down and out. Yeah, looking like a bozo. And then the beard would be like, oh, and then how in the mustache, oh God, it was horrible. Now you might ask yourself, why don't you just, it's not like I could just shave this head like myself. And I guess I just didn't think of that, because I'm just used to Angie or a barber. And also when I travel around the world, I don't have the kinds of tools that I can do to go ahead and cut my own hair. So it's always an experience. And in fact, if you listen to the last time Angie was on the patio with me during Patio Stories, she cut my hair about 2 months ago. It's been that long. It must have been episode 4. I'm thinking 4 or 5, that she cut my hair, and I told a story about 2 barbers. One barber from Kosovo, and another barber from Egypt in Aswan, down at the bottom of the Nile, or at Lake Nasser anyway. So that's Patio Stories for today. It's always good. Next week, next time I go live, we'll try this again with YouTube and simultaneously go live. YouTube really strongly suggests that these are promoted and scheduled, and I'm usually a little bit more spontaneous than scheduling one of these live streams. But nonetheless, I thank you for tuning in to Patio Stories. Cheers to you. Angie, get in here with the cheers. Okay. And cheers to you guys over here on YouTube. We love you. Thank you. If you are in California, San Diego area, go to Carlsbad and go to Entourage Salon when they get open. Do we have any indication? How we doing?
No, it's soon, I feel. Nothing's been said, but soon, another week or 2.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, again, thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to the next time with you guys.